that maybe shouldn't be part of the recreational trail network, that aren't providing opportunities for people because they're not using them. And so where that's the case, we're going to want to take a look and get feedback from you all as to whether these routes are useful. And if they are, work to maintain and open them. And if they're not, take that mileage of trail that we have designated and move it somewhere else where it's actually useful and provide excellent opportunities on the ground and be part of this cohesive, excellent trail system that we want to develop. Maintenance is something that we probably want to talk about. We probably ran out of trail maintenance standards handouts, but there are standards for trail maintenance, and there are a lot of things in Keyesville that aren't meeting there. And that's causing some problems with soil washing, erosion, and things of that nature that we probably are going to want to address with maintenance of these trails in the long term. Through partnerships again with user groups and volunteer groups. In particular, because in a lot of places, the lack of trail maintenance is kind of diminishing recreational value, right? We'll have a single track trail where big erosional features are developing, where the trail is being blown out 20 feet wide until people are trying to move the road. We're going to have a single hill where there's like 3 to 5 different trails that are going up, and we're trying to make new routes to avoid a particularly rutty, difficult section. So if we can start maintaining those sections and then making them more usable and more user-friendly, we can start to eliminate some of these erosion issues, soil loss issues, come into conformance with kind of best management practices for trail maintenance, and just provide a better experience for everyone. On the other hand, a lot of these trails, the erosion and the steepness of the trail provides a challenge in the level of difficulty that some people are looking for. So we want to find a way of balancing the needs of people who are looking for difficult, challenging trails with our need to, kind of make sure that these trails are sustainable in the long run and, available for multiple use. Some of these trails that are really rutted, they might be fine for motorcycles, but it becomes impossible for hikers or bikers or equestrian users to use these narrow ruts that turn into trails, which means often that people using the trail on the side and just individuals riding the bikers, again, diminishing the recreation value of this system. Okay, signing. Pictures maybe speak for themselves, and you probably have all seen signs in Keyesville. This is pretty typical. We've got really faded signs, we've got broken signs. It's time for new signs in Keyesville. But we need to talk about today. What should those signs look like? What should they, what should be on there? The RMP provides some guidance in the way that, closed routes are going to be signed with a red carcinite with a red route closed sticker, make it very clear and different from the brown carcinites that are typically marking open designated trails. But what should go on these designated trail markers? Name of the route, route number, difficulty, type of vehicle. Those are all things we want to talk about today. And then talking about the level of signage. Do we want things just at the trail entrances? Do we want things that are providing navigational help for people at intersections or along the way of the route? Those are all things that come into this recreation area that we're all working together. Okay? I mentioned this before, but we really want to think a little bit about how Keyesville fits in the broader picture here. How does Keyesville fit in kind of the broader area recreation opportunities that are found in the Forest Service? There's over 100 miles of routes that Forest Service roads and trails that you can access from Keyesville. So we really want to think about how our trail system connects to the Forest Service system. Think about opportunities that we're providing that Forest Service isn't and make sure that we maintain those. And then think about opportunities that Forest Service is providing that maybe Keyesville doesn't have to. So thinking about this connection with the Forest Service as we talk today is really important. We want to talk about areas where we have really high intensities of uses, staging areas or areas where people are dropping off and just kind of warming up on their bikes or setting their kids down to drive loops around an area. We're getting kind of, pretty extensive impacts in these areas, a lot of soil compaction, a lot of denuding of vegetation, a lot of drought proliferation. We want to think about, how to manage that and make sure that these issues don't, spread or give the impression that Keyesville is an open play area. Because what we're seeing is this is just off of Kids Loop last weekend. So when you're in an area where there's just trails everywhere, people tend to get the impression that I can just go cross country, and they're cutting new trails. And so these impacts in these high intensity use areas are growing and growing every year. We want to make sure that these areas are providing opportunities that people are wanting, but also that we're not getting additional impacts to the vegetation and sensitive environmental resources. Okay. Then we want to talk about cross-country trail use in general. Keyesville does have problems when people are going off of designated routes and cutting or where they're blatantly ignoring a closed sign and just cutting onto a closed trail. So these are fairly serious problems. A lot of the problem is with signing, right? There isn't adequate signage in Keyesville. And so there's also problems with trails that unexpectedly jump in different. This is on the Keyesville Classic, where there's kind of a technical feature where inexperienced riders are having some problems, and so they seem to be just cutting off on their own. We want to find ways of addressing that, and I think we all agree that the best way to address it, or our sense of things is the best way to address it, is the development of really high quality trails that are providing the opportunities that people want. But we're open to any other ideas that people have. Do you have a question or comment?
No, I'm gonna hold.
Okay.
I'm gonna hold that thought.
Cool. Okay, and then to get away from travel management a little bit and talk more about issues affecting specifically French Gulch RMZ, camping in the RMZ, in particular camping in the meadow area that we hope to visit later today. Traditionally, the Middle Line has used this big, flat, open area as kind of a venue for permitted events. So things like the Keyesville Classic, the Backcountry Horseman Trials events. This is the venue where we say, okay, everyone, you can camp in this spot. That does tend to lead to impacts to the meadow, and the impacts, accumulate as we allow, as recreational use continues in this area. So we want to think about what are the desired conditions in the meadow long term? Are these sorts of uses appropriate? Are they not? If they're not, where do we find alternative venues for people to stage and to camp for these big events, which are things that we really do want to support in the Keyesville area. And so with that, we'll kind of turn things over to you. Again, a list of things we want to talk about: camping and staging in this RMZ, high intensity use related to camping and staging.